sorry, that's for a Democrat show.
Let me know when you're ready.
No matter what the technical difficulty is, this man is a professional. He goes all the way.
What you represent to them is freedom.
Was an extremely great conservative commentator. We're tearing it up on Wednesday night. This is awesome. This
will allow me to retort.
Well, this is Jersey Joe for the Reaver of Common Sense show. 8 p.m. on shrmedia.com.
Actually, I just totally screwed up. This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense show. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm making sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to join the live chat. Go to shrmedia.com. Click on the chat room button. Join the conversation. Oops. Forgot to turn the camera on. All right. If you want to watch a broadcast, go to Reaver.one. That is REAVER.ONE. Click on the live stream. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to support the show and support SHR Media, go to Reaver.one/shop and pick yourself up a t-shirt or coffee mug. Now, we're supposed to have Brian Mast on. I'm going to try to get a hold of him. Here, let's see.
You have reached the voice.
All right, let's try the backup number. All right, let's see how that goes. We're trying to get patched through, so excuse the silence for a moment, please. I do apologize for all the silence. This is sometimes issues pop up all of a sudden when you're trying to get interviews with some high-end personnel. Right now, also on Fox, they have Yes, I am, ma'am.
What's a good number for him to call you? I apologize. I reminded him this morning. I don't know where he is.
It is 813-470 9991. It seems we have some issues where he may have goofed up the time. We're not sure. They're trying to get a hold of him, and they'll have him give a call. So, we'll see how it goes. So let's get on. We have Loretta Lynch is on Fox right now running her mouth. Well, actually, a lack of running her mouth. She can't answer anything, won't answer anything. It's actually... I got a friend of mine that says it's a waste of money. I say it's not a waste of money because it's shining a light on some truth. And the truth is that this administration is not as transparent as they say. And there are so many people that believe that this is one of the most transparent government. So the more we see of this, that them being silent, the better it is. So to me, it's not a waste. We actually got our politicians working, doing something. It's not a waste to me. And I respect I understand, and I respect what he has to say. It's a frustration. But compared to what we waste money on, I forget what the study was where they were putting shrimp on a friggin' treadmill and filming it. And we paid a couple $1 million for this study. We paid a couple $1 million for to find out why dykes are predominantly overweight. So cops have walked off the job at Minneapolis Arena, after WNBA players wear BLM T-shirts. That whole thing is a different matter, and it's not going to turn out well. You have Obama, who just spoke in Dallas, which I'll speak more on tomorrow, but he tells them how he's their best hope. But they work in a job that's predominantly racist. So he's calling them and their job racist, but he's there to help them. BLM is supposed to be peaceful, but yet there's more cops have been shot at. They chant that type of stuff for the murder of police, but they're not violent. Some of these people may have peaceful intentions, but there's a lot of them that have revenge on their mind. They're not chanting for justice, because when justice comes down, whether guilt or innocent, they're not liking it when innocent comes about. They want revenge. They don't want justice. And the Democrat Party platform, they're coming for our guns this round. Hillary Clinton is going to try to come for our guns, period. I don't know how else you could put it. She will come after our guns. They don't believe we should have guns. They're trying to push the UN to step in on it. And yes, the Democrat Party is a part of that. The Democrat Party 2016 platform drafts make one thing clear. They are coming for our guns. The drafts not only contain the usual rhetoric about gun shows and dangerous loopholes, most of which do not exist, but they put these fear in people's heads, and they use those words like loopholes. And they know dang well that some of them were not loopholes. Loophole is an unintentional action. Whereas some of those things that are going on, the 3-day wait, if it doesn't happen in 3 days, the person's allowed to pick up a gun if they can't prove within 3 days. And let me tell you, we didn't have a big issue back in the late 80s when that first went in. And we have faster access to information nowadays. We have instant access. So if you can't find it in 3 days, that's an issue. It was not a loophole. It was a compromise. The pro-gunners did not want any waiting period. The anti-guns wanted an unlimited period, which is a backdoor ban. No, that wouldn't happen. Never, never. Yeah, just as when we compromised in late 80s on these gun control, and yeah, everything was, it's solved. This is what all we want. We don't want no more. Oh, now they want more. And that's what they do. And that's why I don't and won't give up an inch when it comes to my guns. Because they'll ask for an inch, but then they'll take a mile. It may be 10 years from now. They have no problem. It just, they use these words on simple-minded people. And yes, these people that are falling for it, they may be smart and intelligent. Doesn't mean that they're not simple-minded. They're easily persuaded. Because these dangerous loopholes just do not exist. And now they're trying to call for a ban on semi-automatic, which will take something like 90% of the weapons off the street. But no, they're not trying to ban weapons. Oh, but they want to ban AR-15s, any quote-unquote assault rifle, because it looks scary. Because it's scary looking. We've got to take it off the street. And the Democrats sit there and say, with 33,000 Americans dying every year, Democrats believe that we must finally take sensible action to address gun control or gun violence. While gun ownership is part of the fabric of many communities, too many families in America have suffered from gun violence. And this is out of page 25 of the party platform draft. Okay? Let me start over again. Page 25. With 33 Americans dying every year, Democrats believe that we must finally take sensible action to address gun violence. While gun ownership is part of the fabric of many communities, too many families in America have suffered from gun violence. We can respect the right of responsible gun ownership while keeping our communities safe. That 33,000 figure has a 66% inflation of their numbers. Hold on one second.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I just got the phone call. Brian Mast is here, and thank you for being on the show, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate y'all having me today. How y'all doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been warm the last couple of days.
That's an understatement. I ride my motorcycle a lot of days, and you get stopped at a stoplight, sitting on top of that motorcycle engine. You really feel it.
Oh, I bet. I went out yesterday, and it was just like I opened the door. It felt like I walked into a wall of heat. I was like, I'm going back inside.
Yeah, I can't blame you. I don't know. I still like to get out there and do it. Running every day for office. I got a great team of people that are literally out there in the heat, walking door to door every day. I try to join them as much as I can, walking door to door every day, and you feel it. I should start buying stock in sunblock.
That and the bottled water. Get stock in that, and we'll be doing good. So
that's exactly right. That and bottled water.
I would like to give yourself an introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing.
Well, the background is this. I spent about a dozen years in the U.S. Army. I was, for the most part, a bomb technician in our highest level of military special operations, a place called Joint Special Operations Command. I loved it. I thought I was going to do it for 20 or 30 years, but the short version is I ended up finding one bomb too many and lost 2 legs and a finger while serving in Afghanistan. And after recovering up in Walter Reed Army Medical Center for about a year and a half, I went to work with a couple of federal agencies, working primarily in counterterrorism. That was my life's work, and completed my degree up at Harvard in economics and environmental studies. And today, I'm a candidate for Congress here in Florida's 18th Congressional District, which is Martin County, St. Lucie County, and part of Palm Beach County, Florida.
Well, to start off with, I want to thank you for your service. It's greatly appreciated. I can't fathom the trials and tribulations that you're going through, and that you overcome all this. It just is honoring to see it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really did. I enjoyed almost every minute of my service, and I say this with all seriousness. I don't regret a minute of it. I lost 2 legs and a finger, but it was in service to my country and in service to my friends. And there's not one day that I would trade 2 legs for the life of any one of my friends. That's the reality of it.
I can understand. I mean, I don't have the background you do, but I turned 16. I was volunteering at the fire companies, started volunteering on the ambulance. I ended up making a career out of it. Finally, my back gave out, and I've had some health issues since then, but I would give anything to get back on that ambulance. I loved helping people. I loved doing what I did. It wasn't a job to me. I actually looked forward to getting up every morning and getting on that rig and going to do my job. So,
yeah, and that's all about serving other people. When you're doing something that you're serving other people, there's so much purpose in that. And, our police department, our sheriffs, our fire department, our paramedics, those of us that serve in a military capacity, they're out there serving other people, and it's so selfless and so purposeful.
Yeah, I would give anything to go back on that ambulance, but you adapt and you overcome and you go.
That's it.
So, what made you step up to run for the 18th District of Florida?
Well, running for Congress, it wasn't a grand ambition in life. Like I said, I was in the military for 12 years. I thought I was going to do it for 20 or 30 years. But the reality became, after injury, that, serving on the battlefield wasn't really in the cards anymore. And I remember very specifically when I decided I was going to run for Congress, it was as I was laying in a hospital bed up in Walter Reed Army Medical Center. And I was just telling my wife in a very emotional time in my life, I didn't know how to go through life and have the best thing that I'd ever done be in my past, or the best example I set for my kids be in my past, or really the best defense that I'd ever given my country be something that was now behind me. I needed to find a way that I could keep helping my country, and that's where I decided I'd look for a new battlefield, and I thought it would be Washington, D.C., if my community would have me. And that's where I decided that, I was going to do everything that I could to become a good representative for my area in Washington, D.C.
You got my support. I am not in your county, but I'll do anything I can to help you, sir.
Thank you.
What is your take? Did you hear Obama speaking today in Dallas with the police, by chance? Did you hear his comments?
I didn't hear Obama yet today. I haven't been able to turn on the TV yet today. But, this is the thing that I say about Obama's relationship to Dallas. And the fact of the matter is, I absolutely believe that there's blood on his hands for the ambush that occurred in Dallas several days ago, because he knowingly took a match and he threw it into a powder keg where there was already demonstrations going on in Dallas and other places throughout the country. And he goes on national air and starts talking about some sort of institutional racism that exists across law enforcement throughout the United States of America, talking about incarceration rates and police stop rates, giving no mention whatsoever to the fact that the people that are incarcerated are there because of their own personal behavior, because they broke the law and no other reason. And that's where I say there's blood on his hands. He threw a match into a powder keg.
But he basically went on that speech again today, how the police force is inherently racist, but he's with the officers and he's backing them. I couldn't believe when he said that. He's, you're going to sit there and insult people's work, but tell them you're with them. It's getting absolutely ridiculous with this president.
And by doing that, he is casting a net across across our entire society. Because the fact is, our law enforcement, our fire department, our paramedics, our military, they come from every corner, every background, every race, religion, both genders, every background you can imagine. Those people come from. And so for him to cast that net and say that there's this institutional racism, he's saying that about our entire society, and he is just not in the right place to be leading this country.
Yeah, no. Change up. What is your stance on gun ownership? And what was Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida tried to get a bill of open carry? What are your stances on those?
Well, number one, when people ask me about gun control, I always say, my idea of gun control is aim small, miss small. I carried a rifle for really the bulk of my life, or the bulk of my adult life. And this was very real for me, that on any given night where I went out onto the battlefield, I had to fire my weapon in defense of myself and in defense of my country. And I always thought that to die because I couldn't shoot back would be a really stupid reason for me to die. That's what I was literally thinking on the battlefield, as I was thinking about how many magazines of ammunition to bring out on any given night. And that's where I look at this, and I layer that on top of society here, and the fact that we have those, really on the far left, that are doing what they can to make sure Americans can't defend themselves, that they can't shoot back when they need to defend themselves. And that's a major issue. This is something that, even though we should each be allowed to have an opinion on what's going on because of the First Amendment, we're allowed to voice that opinion. The Second Amendment guarantees that we have this right to keep and bear arms and to defend ourselves. And it shouldn't go beyond the fact that we're just expressing our opinions. It shouldn't go beyond that into any sort of other legislation. And that's my belief on it. Now, as it pertains to open carry, I'm a firm believer in that. That is something that should exist. Open carry, campus carry. I paint it to people like this often. You see somebody and they put up a sign outside of their house that says, "Beware of dog." The reason that they do that is because there is a factor that exists through that says, hey, there's a threat here that if I attack this place, there's something on the other side of that fence that I may not want to deal with. And that's what open carry can be like. Somebody has their firearm. They're not doing anything illegal with it, but it certainly lets other people know that, if you attack me, I'm ready for it. And that's what the public has to do. If you want to protect yourself, number one, utilize your Second Amendment right. Go out there, get a concealed weapon permit, and go out there and get some training and some more training and some more training, and make yourself proficient at using it, and make yourself ready for any situation that might arise.
Exactly. One of the issues I have, and I'm very strong on the Second Amendment. When I was young, my father went to work. We lived in New Jersey, where basically it's next to impossible for you to get a concealed carry. You basically have had an attempt on your life, or work at a bank, something like that. Well, my father, being a maintenance guy, basically went to work, couldn't own a gun, couldn't carry a gun, and some criminal walked into his work one day, held my dad's boss and my dad at bay with a gun, killed his boss, and my dad standing there having to watch that. And if he had been armed, it's not guaranteeing that he wouldn't have got shot, but it would have changed the chances and the percentage, where it could have been a totally different outcome. Now, I spent next 10 years watching my father go through 23 surgeries from taking 2 bullets. So I hate these gun-free zones, because it just creates a smorgasbord for criminals. Whether you want to say they're mentally ill or what, it just creates an environment for them.
And this is something that we have to be comfortable with as Americans. There are a lot of very evil people out there. There are a lot of very evil terrorists that are unfortunately trying to make our main street their new battlefield. And what we have to be comfortable with is the fact that anybody that comes out of alive in any of these situations is the person that's more violent. We shouldn't try to be more evil than those that are attacking us, but we have to have the capability to be more violent, because it's the person that's more violent that's going to come out on top. And if you want to have that capability, you have to be able to essentially brandish a firearm in response to somebody else attacking you, and that's the reality of it.
I mean, exactly what you just said is how I feel we need to go at ISIS, basically. We need to hit them so hard. And I don't have a military background, but from my knowledge of what they're doing, the only thing they're going to, if anything, back down is if we hit them so hard and heavy, it puts the fear of Allah. And I'm not trying to be funny about it. Just we have to hit them harder than they are hitting us. We have too many rules of engagement nowadays. We have too many rules. Politicians have stuck their nose into war instead of letting our generals handle the war. What are your views with combating ISIS?
Well, you're absolutely right in what you're saying right now. I mean, the reality is that for those of us that we're combating in terms of radical Islamic terrorism and those that fall under that, in Syria and Iraq and other places, they only have one currency that they understand, and that is the currency of violence. They don't understand anything else. We're not going to appease them. We're not going to be able to negotiate with them. The currency they understand is that of violence, and that's how we have to deal with them. And we have to be at peace with the idea that sometimes there's just evil that exists, that all you can do is erase it. There is no other choice but to erase that evil from this world. And ISIS is absolutely one of those evils. And for me, the most unfortunate part about the conversation of ISIS is this. The reality is we could have defeated ISIS at the time of the Arab Spring with really, a small expeditionary force, a couple special operations forces of units. We could have defeated ISIS because they were very small at the time. And you fast forward to today, they've grown to a force of 30 to 50,000 fighters throughout the Middle East and those that they're inspiring throughout the world. And now the problem has become so large that it is absolutely going to take a much larger force in order to defeat them into extinction. And that's the reality of not combating these things when they first arise. And this is on President Obama's head as well, the fact that he didn't combat them into extinction at the time of the Arab Spring. This is the same time of the Syrian Red Line and, the Russian reset and his continued allowance of China's expansion into the South China Sea. He has been an absolute failure as it pertains to the security of the United States of America.
I've noticed the one thing that he does, all right, he doesn't use the words apologies, but he seems to kiss ass with our enemies, and he has been disrespecting all of our allies, pulling our support from them. It's sickening to watch what he's done to our country. And there's people that actually think the world now respect us more. Every time I talk to anybody internationally, they think we are now a joke, that we are weak, we've lost everything. And that disheartens me. And one of the biggest thing that really pisses me off is the disrespect for anybody that is a patriot. If you have pride in your country, this government, this administration since day one has attacked that. And I understand the motives behind it. They want that North American Union. The only way to do that is you have to stop the people from caring about the country, so you have no borders, yada, yada. What's your take on the North American Union?
Just to address what you just said there, I'm going to tell you something that's probably one of the most painful things for me to say. I don't want to say this about President Obama. I don't want to say this about Hillary Clinton, but this is the reality. Let me just pose this question to you, to any of you listeners. When was the last time that you felt like Barack Obama was proud of America, was proud of who we are, was proud of what our heritage is? When was the last time that you felt like Hillary Clinton was proud of the things that we're going out there and doing across the world? These people are not patriots. And you cannot have somebody that is not a patriot as the leader of the United States of America. We need somebody that is proud of who we are, proud of what our heritage is, proud of what we've always gone out there and done. And it's for that reason that Donald Trump has my full support, because, for anything that may be askew with him, that people may not agree, there's one thing that people cannot deny, that man is a patriot. Yep. And he loves this place and he believes in this place.
Well, as I said, I'm from New Jersey, so his attitude and the way he speaks and everything, that doesn't faze me. That doesn't bother me. I'm used to that type of attitude. I know the rest of the country's not used to that abruptness, but it doesn't faze me. I'd rather someone come up to me and tell me exactly what they think, even if they're cussing me out. I'd respect that more than someone that's fluffing me up and then behind my back talking about me. Trump, I respect him. Has he said some stupid stuff? Yeah. Who hasn't in life? Everybody expects our candidates to be 100% perfect. He has given more policy than any candidate out of all of them. What, you're talking 16 total or 17 total on the Republican? There was, 10 on the Democrat side? None of them have given in-depth as Trump has. And I can't believe the stupidity of some people, how they fail to actually look into the information anymore. As easy as information is nowadays, they just can't go look for his policies. And yeah,
but that's the reality, right? If you're going to stand for something, you're going to make some enemies, and that's how you know that you actually stood for something.
Well, what is it? We have Putin. Trump went at him a little bit, and Putin turned around and said, "I respect the guy. I like the guy." Putin respects strength. That's why he does all this little antics against Obama, because Obama doesn't go back at him. He's testing us. I think,
and
honestly,
I think Donald Trump will be very strong in terms of national security.
Yep.
I really believe that about him. I tell people this often. I literally find myself baffled sometimes about thinking what he might do as the commander-in-chief. And in that, if he gives me this much pause about what he'll do as commander-in-chief, you can believe that he's giving every world leader a tremendous amount of pause about what his actions will be. And in that, there's so much strength that those world leaders will not be able to predict what his actions will be, and that will put them on their heels and really give them a great deal of pause before they go out there and do something that they're going to regret against the United States of America.
Yeah. I understand Trump doesn't have experience in foreign policy, but the one thing I like about Trump is he knows as a businessman that he has to surround himself with the best people, and that's what he's going to do. Our current administration, it seems like Obama has to be the smartest man in the room, and the guy's not that smart to begin with. And if there is somebody that's smarter than him, they get pushed away. And that's the difference between a leader and just someone sitting in the chair.
Well, that's the reality, too, about leadership, that, somebody can be a leader in terms of the position that they're put in, but that doesn't make them a leader in terms of their actions. And, we've we beat a dead horse on this to some degree, but the reality is, our commander-in-chief, our president, has not been a leader for the past 8 years. He's been a divider, and he's done everything that he can to be divisive and try to paint everybody out as a victim of something. And that's what the results, to bring it back around to what we started talking about in Dallas. That's what this is. President Obama has basically gone out there and made it so that those that are here in our country illegally, they're a victim of a poor immigration problem, not that they actually did something wrong. And, now it's employees that are victims of their employers. And, it's now actually criminals that are victims of law enforcement. It's not that they actually did something wrong. And he's done such an amazing job in dividing this country in that kind of way. And now, of course, you see the results of that in people throughout this Black Lives Matter movement that President Obama has praised, going out there and literally targeting law enforcement officers with the intent to kill them.
Yeah, and it makes me speechless even thinking about those actions are happening, and that he doesn't come out and absolutely condemn those actions and condemn the groups, but yet he just keeps pushing them up and trying to make them seem better than they actually are. I want to change it up.
In his own words, he said they did great work.
Yeah.
This was, in an interview maybe a month or so back. Those were his own words that, he was praising the Black Lives Matter movement and the work that they'd done.
Yeah, it's absolutely mind-boggling. With the VA, it's in the news a lot, and it doesn't seem like anything's changed. What would you do to try to reform the VA?
Well, the VA is, no question. It's very important to me. Obviously, I'm serviced by the VA. A great many of my friends are serviced by the VA. And I don't think reform of the VA is a very difficult concept. You have to give veterans the choice to be seen wherever they want, whenever they want to be seen. Give them the choice to go be seen anywhere. And that will not only make the VA better, but it will make the lives of veterans better. I'm not saying to dismantle the VA, because many veterans love the VA. There's a lot of veterans that would prefer to continue being seen at the VA. So let them have that choice. But make the VA compete for the business for every single veteran, that if that veteran chooses to go to the VA, it's because he had the choice of any doctor in that entire area. And he chose the VA because it ended up being the best possible care, not because they're forced to go there. And that's how you make the VA better. Make them compete for their patients.
That's a great idea. And because I look at my father refuses to use the VA. He was in the mid-'60s, and he saw what happened in the '70s, so that's stuck in his head. And then seeing how it's popped in the news, he's too scared to go to the VA. And he also says he has his own health insurance now, so why? To him, it's wasting money since he has health insurance. Why go to a VA? And I can understand his thinking. What would you do different as a politician if elected in?
Well, number one, we can talk about this ideologically, and we can talk about this in a policy-specific way. But I think one of the biggest things that I can do differently is just to make sure that I go up there and I be a leader based on the way that I saw other people lead. My example has been on the battlefield, and I've lost, unfortunately, 67 friends to date in our theaters of war. And the reality is that not one of my friends left this world because they were doing what was best for themselves, because they thought they were going to become wealthy or famous or important or anything else. They left this world because they knew they were doing what was best for the United States of America, and they knew they were doing what was best for their brothers to their left and right in combat. And that's how people need to serve this country. I don't care if you're serving in the House, in the Senate, if you're president, vice president, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, wherever you are, if you want to serve the United States of America, you do it without regard for personal gain and without regard for personal sacrifice. You do it any other way, and you are dishonoring the memory of every hero that's laid to rest in a place like Arlington National Cemetery.
You bring up doing it for the people and that. I see too many, and I see it in my county where I live right now. The EMS system and the fire, they don't do it because they love to service and help people. They do it because they want a pension, and they see the pension and the benefits, and that's why a lot of people are getting into it. And it scares me because I've seen some houses that should have been saved that get burned up. They get lost because these guys are too afraid to do their job. And that goes right along with the military. We need people that want to do the job and are willing to sacrifice.
You can speak for yourself. I personally haven't known any. I have a great deal of friends that are in the fire department. I haven't known any of them that would ever shirk their responsibility. My friends are always, the first ones out the door, down the pole, down the road with the truck. They are eager to go out there and do their job, and I couldn't be more thankful for them.
I'm not trying to knock the fire departments or anything.
Myself,
it's unfortunately something that I've seen in Hillsborough County. Especially when I was working, I would talk to them, and it was always the answer I got was pension. It was never, and I didn't talk to all of them, but that's one thing that scares me with people getting into some of these careers. And I've seen some of them go in the military for the college funds, but yet they don't want to go off and serve the country.
Well, these are different parts of what's offered to, people that want to serve in the military because of the college benefits, or, the pension because you get a pension when you retire from the military as well, just like you get a pension when you retire from the police department or the fire department. And these are important conversations, because you got to remember also the work that's being done by these individuals. It's not like going and sitting in a cubicle somewhere. It's demanding on your body. You're breaking down your body. You never know what the threat is going to be on any given day. And it should be an important part of the conversation, in my opinion, how you're going to be taken care of when you finish doing this job, when your body wears out and you can't do this job anymore. Because you can believe that somebody that spends 20 years as a Marine, they did a lot of damage to their body. Somebody that spends 20 years in the police department, carrying a gun belt, body armor, wearing a helmet, being in riots, being in different situations like that, they're doing some major damage to their body. And, pensions, they got to be a part of the conversation because these guys are breaking their bodies down for life.
But there also needs something to be looked at, because I worked in private field, and at private field on BLS, you do 911 also. I have no pension. I have no coverage. I'm actually trying to get disability because I can't work. I do this show just to keep my head going. I do a couple hours a day and just I'm in pain the rest of the day, and I don't have any coverage. I don't have a pension because I work private. And that's one thing. I don't think we're taking care of some of the lower end of EMS, like the EMTs. They really have no coverage unless they work for the counties. And most of the counties, you have to become a paramedic. And that's something I wish that it could get looked at to help protect the EMTs that work private.
I think you bring up an important part of it. You're bringing up an important point right there of, why this does need to be looked at because, unfortunately, there are a lot of hazards associated, even with those that are tasked with, protecting life and saving life. You're doing a lot of damage to your own life. And that's, like you're saying right there, it has to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you go, sir. I appreciate you being on the show. I got to get to a break real quick. And, anytime you want to come on, I'd be glad to have you on.
I thank you. I really appreciate you giving me the time today, and I'll look forward to the next time we connect.
All right, sir. And this has been Brian Mast, running for Congress in Florida's 18th District. You have a good day, sir.
You have a good one, too. Take care.
All right, you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media, High Plains Pundit Radio, ICRN, iTunes, and YouTube, and Red Nation Rising. We will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network. Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our Gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
My name is Chris Peranto, call sign Tonto. I was with the Global Response Staff. We were the security element for the Central Intelligence Agency in Benghazi, Libya on 9/11/2012. Myself and my team responded to an attack that killed Ambassador Chris Stevens, Sean Smith, and two of my teammates, Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty. Radical Islam is basically terrorism in a nutshell. It wants to not only put down Western values, it wants to kill anybody that supports those Western values, which is freedom, which is Christianity, and which is also anything that looks poorly on Sharia law. We've allowed it again to grow into something that it shouldn't be, and it's becoming stronger and stronger every day that we don't lead from the front. Obama and Hillary, by avoiding the phrase radical Islam, they're being politically correct. They don't see it for what it is, and that's straight up destroying the Western world. Radical Islam doesn't have a fear. They will give up their lives. They will detonate themselves. They will do anything they can to fulfill Sharia law and kill the infidels. If we're not able to even say radical Islam, the word radical Islam, there's no way we can fight it. There's no way we can defeat it. The United States of America doesn't lead from behind. We are always setting the example. If not, we're going to see terrorism get bigger and bigger, and eventually it's just going to be continual lone wolf attacks in the United States. And I don't want that to happen to my kids. I don't want to see my family go through that. Please join me in waking up Washington in this fight on radical Islam, seeing the threat that it really is. Sign up at leadingfromthefront.org.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date on everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm making sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to join the live chat. Go to shrmedia.com. Just click on the chat room button. Join the conversation. If you want to watch a broadcast, go to Reaver.1. Click on the live stream. If you like the live stream, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a comment. And if you want to support the show or support SHR Media, go to Reaver.1/shop. Pick up a t-shirt, or 2, or 3. We also got coffee mugs. So that was Brian Mast we just had on. Great man, honorable man. He is running for Florida's 18th district for Congress, and hopefully we'll get him on again. All of a sudden, weather just changed, and I could feel the pressure, and it's got me a little dizzy from it. Right before Brian called in, we were talking about the Democrat platform, and they're coming for our guns. We were talking about 33,000 is the number. 33,000 is the number that the Democrats keep chanting about. That's how many die from gun violence. And that number is actually a 66% inflation of the number of Americans who die via gun violence each year. The accurate number is right around 10 to 11,000 people annually. The Democrats and their surrogate in the media arrive at 33,000 by adding in firearm-related suicide, which total approximately 20 to 21,000 annually, and accidental firearm deaths, which total about 500 a year. By lumping them together and claiming they are all the result of gun violence, Democrats inflate the number and come up with 33,000. The only way they can try to get their point across is they have to lie and stack the deck against them. This 33,000 is a false number. And that's a nice way of putting it. After representing people with the inflated numbers of gun violence, the draft of the Democrat Party presents their plan to take an entire category of guns away from you, punish federal firearm license holder and gun makers for crimes committed with guns, and expand background checks so that every would-be gun buyer has to pass the same background check the Orlando gunman, Aurora movie theater gunman, and Gabby Gifford's attacker passed to acquire their guns. The platform draft says we will expand background checks and close dangerous loopholes in our current laws, hold irresponsible dealers and manufacturers accountable, keep weapons of war such as assault weapons off our street, and ensure guns do not fall into the hands of terrorists, domestic abusers, and other violent criminals and those with severe mental health issues. The NRA-ILA observes, notice that the plank does not mention the Second Amendment or recognize the fact that it protects an individual right to keep and bear arms. This is a blatant attack, and this is a way for a ban. I've talked about it multiple times, and when I confront people, they never can answer me. If the Democrats do not want a ban, why do they pay millions of dollars for a think tank to come up with how to ban guns? If you don't want to ban guns, why are you trying to come up with a way to ban guns? Why are you talking about banning certain weapons? The AR-15 is a civilian weapon. It was developed from there into a military weapon. It didn't start out a military weapon. It started out a civilian, was adapted to military life. They don't understand that, and they don't know that. They don't understand that the AR does not stand for assault rifle or automatic rifle. It stands for Armalite rifle. They will lie. They will cheat. They will do anything to disarm the American people. And I, for one, have about had it. I will keep fighting them. I will keep talking about it. And I'll keep pushing it. And this is how bad they are so full of shit on the left. Bernie Sanders says he's for all this progressive bull socialist stuff. He's against Wall Street. But he just endorsed Hillary Clinton. Wall Street queen as it is. They will say and do anything to get elected. It's actually I just can't believe that this still goes on. We're going to station break. It's only going to be about 15 seconds, but...
This is Dave Milner, host of The Unpleasant Blind Guy. You're listening to conservative media done right on the SHR Media Network at shrmedia.com.
Yeah, so... with the interview, and it wasn't, I'm not blaming the interview, it just got a little screwed up with the break, so I needed a little section, so when I do my editing, got it. Hang on. Have you ever had a day where you can't even think of basic words? So, it's funny, somebody was trying to make a joke off a comment I made, and then someone else called them out for, I brought up about the fact that our government wastes money, and the way the study went, why are dikes overweight? And that's what they had talked about. So I was repeating that because we paid several $1 million for a study into that. And the person made a joke about, dikes as in, like, a dam blocking water. And someone else, that was hate-filled. And they were just calling me out on my comment. And I'm just repeating what the hell the bill said. People are so sensitive nowadays. It's... Damn. You don't know what the hell to say to people anymore. But let me tell you, if I say I'm offended, everybody just keeps going. Who gives a shit if the white male is offended? Screw him. We could just keep talking if he's offended. You know what? I'm getting sick of that. I really am. I'm being treated like a second-rate citizen because of the color of my skin. I have never mistreated anybody because of the color of skin, but it's happening now to me, and I'm getting sick and tired of it. This world we're living in with everybody I don't understand it. Dykes are a section of lesbians. It's the way to describe a certain group of them. They all have different roles. Now people are upset about that. I just... I don't know. This country's going to hell. I don't know. And this one's funny. We got Hillary Clinton. We're not holding people accountable for hiring illegal immigrants, which creates an on-level playing field. Now Hillary Clinton's going to try to play both fields. She's going to be bringing in more illegal immigrants. She's going to be giving amnesty, but then bitching about companies that are hiring illegal immigrants because she's going to try to play both sides of the fence here. She is going to try to combat Trump by using some of his own ways, but also at the same time try to play the field of allow illegal immigrants. This is bullshit, and I'm getting tired of it. I'm just about, today's one of those days where I'm kind of getting full, and I've been trying to stay nice and clean and mellow, and I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know if that's good for me because it's holding in this aggravation. And I don't know. But during an interview that took place on June 22nd. It was released the other day. Presumptive Democrat presidential nominee Hillary Clinton argued that while it doesn't displace a big amount of jobs, if you are employing undocumented workers and no one is holding you accountable, which we haven't enforced those laws in a very comprehensive way, then it's easy to undercut the market. So right there, she is admitting that this administration is not enforcing basic laws. But yet, she'll run around and say, no, they're enforcing all the laws. Sackett on putting up a Facebook post that was pretty funny. She's out there, and that's what Trump has been talking about. He doesn't say that we have to deport every single illegal immigrant. We start enforcing the laws on the books and revoking people from being able to do business that hire illegal aliens. And when the illegal aliens cannot get work, they're going to leave. Right there is deportation through enforcing the law. And that is one of the things that Trump has talked about. But the media and the left want to ignore those facts. They want to ignore that part. Conservatives have been saying for a long time, we don't have to literally bust these people out. But Lord knows, we've been paying for some of them to be flown in. That's what the left doesn't realize, is this administration has not only been putting it out there to come to the border, not only are they instructing them not to show up to the court dates, they are flying some of these illegal immigrants into our country to flood our country. And it blows my mind. Hillary is trying to play both fields right now and play both sides. And I'm hoping that people aren't that stupid. We need people to pay better attention to what's going on. And this idea that, well, there's nothing I can do about it. Well, you know what? Yeah, you can do something about it. Speak up. Write letters. Call your representatives. Call. Light up their lines. Annoy the piss out of them. That's what they're there for. They have staff. Put them to work. Call. You can do something. Vote. I hate this mentality of, well, my vote doesn't count. It's already predicted. Well, then explain, how did Trump get nominated? How did Trump get nominated? Because nobody wanted him except the people. The Republican Party did not want him. So don't tell me your voice, your vote doesn't count, because it does. Get out there and vote. That's how you make a difference. Stop putting the same people in. Vote. Put in great people like Brian Mast. Put in honorable people. Stop putting politicians in. You got Sharia law coming in Illinois. Illinois to create an official state government Muslim council. But I don't hear them doing a Hindu council, a Christian council, a Jewish council, and the list goes on. And what about the separation? They always cry about the left. They always cry about the separation between state and government. But yet they're going to make a special council for the Muslims. And you know what? It does not surprise me that it's happening in Illinois. A Muslim council sanctioned by the government. For what? To ensure we adhere to Sharia restrictions? To punish those of us, like myself, who refuse to adhere to Sharia law and its crushing speech law? You got to understand, Sharia law would stop us from our free speech. It would stop us from saying anything negative, even if it's warranted. We would not be able to say anything negative. We would be punished with death. But yet you have people that think it's a good idea. Then you will see the true war on women. Like I said, why a Muslim council? Where is the Hindu, Jewish, pagan council, Church of Scientology council, Christian council? And yes, this is a violation of the Establishment Clause. Freedom-loving Illinois residents should file a class action suit as soon as this passes. This is how far and how deep Islamic supremacists and their running dogs on the left have infiltrated the senior levels of state and federal government. After the bloodiest Ramadan month on record, there are no councils to represent the interests of other faiths in Illinois, and the likely leaders of this council are from the same band urging the federal government towards censorship of criticism. At the end of an especially bloody month, which included, hang on, I hate this. I don't know why every now and then my headset gets a little wacky and I lose all out of nowhere. And crapola. Give me 1 second. I'm just not having a good day. There we are. I lose all sound in my headset, so I don't. It's annoying. But as I was saying, the end of an especially bloody month of Ramadan, which includes the worst terror attack in America since 9/11. Some politicians and lawmakers feel the solution is to give Muslim communities more of a voice in government. The state government of Illinois currently has legislation pending the approval of Governor Bruce Ronell that would give Illinois a permanent 21-member Muslim American Advisory Council. The Chicago Tribune describes the uniqueness of the measure by saying Illinois could become the first state with a law in the book that gives Muslim a formal voice in government. The council would have the following structures. The 21-member council, whose volunteer members would be appointed by the governor, as well as leaders in the House and Senate, would advise the governor and General Assembly on issues affecting Muslim Americans and immigrants, including relations between Illinois and Muslim-majority countries. Through monthly meetings and 2 public hearings per year, members also would serve as liaison between state agencies and communities across Illinois. The act specifies that members would serve 2-year terms and should bring expertise in a variety of areas, including higher education, business, international trade, law, immigration, health staff. Staff for certain state agencies would serve as ex officio members. Bite tongue. This is a special status for a religious group. It's surprising in a country that bars an official state religion. In the legislation, it states Muslims are the 3rd largest religion group in the state of Illinois after Roman Catholic and independent evangelistic Christians. Yet there are no special advisory council for those other religious groups. It would be plausible for there to be. Christians in the United States are often targeted by hostile activity groups like the Human Rights Campaign, which seeks to infringe upon their religious liberties. Indeed, Christians are one of the most prosecuted groups worldwide. Open Door estimated that each month 322 Christians are murdered for their faith. 214 churches and properties are ruined. 772 types of violence occur against Christians. Why wouldn't Illinois require a Christian council? How about a Jewish council? According to the FBI, 56.8% of anti-religious hate crimes were motivated by an anti-Jewish bias in 2014. Muslim Americans simply are not the biggest victim of religious hate. It sounds more like Illinois' lawmaker brought into the Islamophobia narrative. And have you ever had one of those days where you just feel like screaming? I'm just a dumbfounded. And as Sean just posted, Bernie Sanders just proved he is full of human excrement. He campaigned on everything that is anti-Hillary, everything Hillary stands for. He campaigned against. But he's endorsing her? He's endorsing a candidate that stands for everything he's against? Shows that Bernie is full of human excrement. Elizabeth Warren is the same way. She's against all this big government, against all this Wall Street and big business. Who do you think backs Hillary? This shows that politicians like Bernie, the establishment, is full of shit. And the left. I can't understand how they keep supporting them. It proves that they talk out of their backside. They mean nothing that they say, but you buy into it. The right's no better. Right does the same thing too. I'm talking about Hillary right now. Sorry, taking a look at Hillary's up there lying. What's funny is she's up there talking right now saying Trump's tax plan would be worse for the country when Hillary's own endorsers, people that endorse Hillary, said his plan is better. His policies of immigration and tax is better for the country, and Hillary's will turn the country to the worse. People talk about white privilege. There is white privilege. Go look at Hillary Clinton. That's white privilege. She breaks the law. FBI admits she breaks the law. Rewrites the law so they don't have to make a recommendation to indict her. And what's funny with Trump's proposals that people don't understand, and the experts on Hillary's side had said, with his immigration, forcing out the illegal immigrants, it'll create a vacuum where there's more jobs than people. which means businesses will have to fight to get these people hired. They will have to offer higher wages, which means people will be making more money. You don't have to force companies to do it, which means housing will become a booming entity again. And people will be back to work and wages will go up. With her given amnesty and flooding our borders, the jobs will become sparse. The companies won't have to pay as much. And our economy will go down. This woman is not out for the best of America. She is another one that wants her legacy. She wants to go down in history as the first woman. She wants you to vote because of what is not between her legs, and that is sexist. Her policies will destroy this country. This woman is so evil that I think Satan is scared of her. It's just, oh my God. I'm just floored by the idiocy. And then you got the GOP-led Senate. They are passing bills at a rate not seen in decades. The Senate is off to its best year since 1990 by at least one measure, with more than 30 of its bills having been signed into law by President Barack Hussein Obama. 18 months into Republican control of the Senate, the upper chamber has settled into a new normal. The partisan fights remain, and senators aren't spending much time on the floor debating bills, but they are passing them at a surprising clip. All told, including the 31 Senate bills, 42 House written bills, Congress approves 73 measures that Mr. Obama signed into law from January through the end of June. That's nearly 3 times the number of bills approved in the first 6 months of 2015, and 20 more than in 2014, which was the last year Democrats had control of the Senate. The new Republican Congress, under the leadership of Senator McConnell, operates under a dramatically different approach than the Democrats in previous Congress. Don Stewart, a spokesman for Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, said in a statement, Senator McConnell opened the Senate, and despite efforts by the Democrat leadership to block bipartisan legislation, we have returned to a more functioning Senate and allowed senators to participate in the legislative process. While this isn't the easy way, it allowed members to have more than dysfunction to show for the time in the Senate. Democrat Congress doesn't deserve the platitude. Democrats say Congress doesn't deserve the platitude. They point to a host of issues that they say Congress has ducked, including their push for more gun control in the wake of the lone wolf terrorist attack in Orlando, even though there was votes done and failed. They want to complain. No, it's not that they didn't act and talk about it. It's that they didn't get their way, so they're like little children and cry wolf. The majority leader, a Kentucky Republican who assumed control in early 2015, has scheduled the Senate to work 5 days weeks. But that has been the exception rather than the rule. The last time the Senate spent less time in session during the first 6 months of the year was 1989. Less time has meant fewer floor votes, too. Senators have been called to the chamber for roll call votes just 117 times through June, marking the worst start to a second session since 1966. It's about to get worse. Once Congress finishes this week, it will go on a 7-week recess to give both parties a chance to hold presidential nominating conventions ahead of a 5-week August break. Republicans are on pace to work the fewest days that the Senate has worked in more than 60 years. 60 years ago, the country was much, much smaller, a lot fewer people here, and a lot less businesses. But even with that, we're working less than they did 60 years ago. This one came from Harry Reid, Mr. Obstructionist himself. Mr. I will block anything and everything that comes across my desk and then blame it on everybody else. And that is the motto of the Democrats. Blame it on everybody else. Criminals break laws. Blame it on the cops. People flooding the border illegally. Blame it on the people being racist. Democrats blocking bills from going through. Blame it on the Republicans. It is not uncommon for the Senate to go in recess for the RNC convention during presidential years. And I don't like Senator McConnell. I do not like that lying bastard. But he is getting more done in the Senate than Harry Obstructionist Reid did. There's a lot of work that needs done. But a lot more work is getting done in that shorter time. Bills are getting passed. Bills are getting signed. But because it's not the bills that they want, the Democrats want, they're going to whine and cry like a little child that they didn't get their way. Well, that's your problem. If we get Hillary as a president, kiss your constitutional rights goodbye. She has said it repeatedly, and I'll keep saying this every day if I have to. She said all of our constitutional rights can be governed, regulated by the government. That is why they're there, so that they can't be regulated. That's why we have the Bill of Rights. So that it can't be regulated. And I wonder how much Bernie was paid off for his endorsement. Because he just sold his soul to Hillary Clinton. And I just... I don't know. We are in a fight for this country. And as Brian Mast and myself talked about, patriotism has taken a hit in this country. And I'm tired of people trying to shame me because I care and love my country. Again, I am hearing, America was never great. Well, if it was never great, you wouldn't have the ability to say such asinine comments. One of the big fights we have right now is over the Zika virus. The legislation adopted the Senate's compromise funding figure of $1.1 billion, but the offset about two-thirds of that were with cuts elsewhere, as House Republicans want. Mr. Reid has thrown his tantrum, saying it's too little and comes with too many strings, including language that would prevent Planned Parenthood from gaining access to the money. What does Planned Parenthood? Well, they don't need it. Leave this to the professionals. If we want babies to be killed, then we'll come talk to you, Planned Parenthood. And I'm getting tired of that. I'm really getting tired of this double standard that goes in this country. We have to talk about Planned Parenthood, but men aren't supposed to talk about it because it's a woman's body. But if I want to go get a vasectomy, I got to get my wife's permission. That's a double standard. And I know a friend of mine's wife that thinks it's funny as hell, but when it comes to talking about abortion, that's a woman's body. We have no right to say anything. Well, actually, I'm running behind. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media, High Plains Pundit Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising, YouTube, and iTunes. We will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network. Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
My name is Chris Peranto, call sign Tonto. I was with the Global Response Staff. We were the security element for the Central Intelligence Agency in Benghazi, Libya on 9/11/2012. Myself and my team responded to an attack that killed Ambassador Chris Stevens, Sean Smith, and two of my teammates, Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty. Radical Islam is basically terrorism in a nutshell. It wants to not only put down Western values, it wants to kill anybody that supports those Western values, which is freedom, which is Christianity, and which is also anything that looks poorly on Sharia law. We've allowed it again to grow into something that it shouldn't be, and it's becoming stronger and stronger every day that we don't lead from the front. Obama and Hillary, by avoiding the phrase radical Islam, they're being politically correct. They don't see it for what it is, and that's straight up destroying the Western world. Radical Islam doesn't have a fear. They will give up their lives. They will detonate themselves. They will do anything they can to fulfill Sharia law and kill the infidels. If we're not able to even say radical Islam, the word radical Islam, there's no way we can fight it. There's no way we can defeat it. The United States of America doesn't lead from behind. We are always setting the example. If not, we're going to see terrorism get bigger and bigger, and eventually it's just going to be continual lone wolf attacks in the United States. And I don't want that to happen to my kids. I don't want to see my family go through that. Please join me in waking up Washington in this fight on radical Islam, seeing the threat that it really is. Sign up at leadingfromthefront.org.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cap for the stupid promo.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mud Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date on everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense show. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm trying to make sense out of the senseless. Right now, I'm also trying to figure out what happened to my camera. All of a sudden, my camera stopped working. I got an idea. All right, we got that. Can we change? Huh. That works. Well, it looks like my broadcast just ended. And I don't know why. What the heck's going on? Let me check one thing. I'm really confused on what's going on. It's really weird. Alright, I might have to shut that down and mess with it later. Sorry about that. Just a really strange thing, and I don't understand why it's not working all of a sudden. Yeah, the webcam won't even turn on now. Things that make you go, I gotta shut this down. For some reason, all of a sudden, the whole computer just lagged majorly. Not the main computer, my secondary computer. So, now I got the wife texting me. And you know it's a bad day when everything goes to hell all of a sudden like this. Ticking me off, though, that my camera stopped working. Well, welcome back to the totally screwed up Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, me, and making a lot of mistakes today. As I talked about earlier in the show, I'm not a professional. I never claimed to be. I was an EMT for 25 years. That was my career. And because of injuries and so forth, I do this to keep my mind going, because if not, it gets kind of stir crazy. So I do this because I want to get my voice out and fight against these evil atrocities that are happening. And yes, these evil atrocities are happening in our world, and it's disgusting. What this current administration is doing is absolutely appalling. For some reason, I don't know what happened. We're going to have to figure that out. I'm looking, and the camera is not turning on at all of a sudden. That's weird. The driver just went kaputty on it. All right, we'll play with it later. So, this country, I do this show to try to combat the evil voice of the left. This voice that they have to try to destroy our country is the reason why I do this. Our government anymore has been out of control, and it's unacceptable. I've said it before, I don't get paid for doing this. In fact, I pay a lot of money out of my pocket that I don't have to do this show. The station is a great station. You should be paying for your time. But they like my message, and they allow me to do it for free. And I'm grateful for them. It's the generosity. That's what I love about the conservative movement, the generosity where they try to help each other out. Just because we want a small government doesn't mean we do not want to be helping our fellow man. But we should be making the choice if we want to, not forced to do it. We have, and this is the biggest gripe I'm having, we have a government now, an administration that is trying to federalize our local law enforcement. And that's not what we're about as a country. Each state is to set up how it wants to run, not the federal government. We are turning into exactly what our forefathers fought against. There's not much difference between what England was doing of the time and what our own government is now doing. And it seems that line Mel Gibson spoke in his movie, and I can't remember the name of it. He was fighting for the revolution, and he asked, why should we give up one dictator thousands of miles away for thousands of dictators just miles away? And that's why we have a bunch of dictators that seem to hell-bent on controlling us. They are picking and choosing right now what laws to enforce. And they're not enforcing a lot of laws that they should. And they're doing it through intimidation. And the federal government's been doing that for years with the states through intimidation. Well, if you do not enforce these or allow this to happen, we will not give XYZ support to you. We won't give educational funding. We won't do this. We won't give you highway funding. But this push to federalize our police department is scary as anything else. I'll discuss more tomorrow, but I feel sorry for my brothers in blue. Because we have an administration, a president, who stood out there today and has done several times and talked about how their job as a whole is a racist institution. But he's with them. He backs them. He backs those police officers, but he just called them all racist. We have a government that seems to be buying up ammunition, trying to cause a shortage of ammunition. And they don't even use them or need them. We have... Why does the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration need 46,000 rounds of hollow point bullets? Why does the Social Security Administration need 174,000 rounds of 357 SIG 125 grained, bonded, jacketed, hollow point pistol ammunition? We are militarizing the alphabet soup organizations in the government that have no need to be militarized. Or even police forces, SWAT teams. The IRS has SWAT teams. And they know that this is probably not going to be enacted through Obama. They know that. But they're setting things up for the future. And we're becoming complacent to what's going on. And I think that scares the hell out of me more. There's a lot of things being set up in this government, and it's not for the betterment of the people. So we need to pay attention to who we vote in. We need to pay close attention. It's I don't know. I'm dumbfounded at what is going on in this country, and that so many people sit back and allow it. We have a new Black Panther Party leader. Blacks need to migrate to 5 southern states, form our own country within a country. We have a group that is outright saying they were out to take over and invade certain areas to create their own country. That is treasonous to say or even attempt. But I don't see our government going after anybody. Babu Omar Wall, and I know I totally screwed up his last name. Omowale. Hang on, I got an app for that. Oh, there's an app for everything, as they say. Let's see how bad I screwed that name. Damn autocorrect. Damn autocorrect. Again, autocorrect. I hate autocorrect sometimes. It could be your friend or it can be your enemy. All right, this is the guy's name. Yeah. Whoa. No, I misspelled it. Hang on. Babu. That's it. The so-called National Minister of Defense for the People's New Black Panther Party says his group and allied organizations have their sights set on establishing our own government in a nation within a nation. He goes on and speaking in an interview set to air Sunday night on this reporter's talk radio program, Aaron Klein Investigative Radio, broadcast on New York's AM 970 The Answer and News Talk 990 AM in Philadelphia. It was used to interview to claim 5 states are belonging to the black nation: Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, and Georgia. Hold on one second. And I want to welcome Sackhead Sean to the program. How you doing, sir?
How are you today, Joe?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm doing better than Bernie supporters are.
Yeah, I saw that out of the corner of my eye. I can't believe that he sold his soul to Hillary Clinton.
Well, I can believe it, but now his followers would truly feel the burn today. This is, and I've alluded to this in the past, Bernie Sanders was pushed into running to get the youth vote in order to hopefully turn it over to Hillary Clinton. I don't know if it'll accomplish what they think it will, but to the completely devout supporters of his that actually believed he was anti-government and anti-big banks and anti-billionaires, they just literally got bought and sold like one of Bernie's cheap suits.
Yeah, and I think they created such an uproar over it. I don't think they're going to back her like they thought they would.
Well, that is yet to be seen. But I'll tell you right now, you can tell how deflated they are because I poked a little bit on Twitter trying to get some sort of responses, and there's nothing. And normally, if you go after Bernie a little bit on Twitter with the Feel the Burn hashtag, you get lit up by his supporters. So I don't know if they're too busy playing Pokemon Go or what. But I'll tell you right now, that is a giant deflated group of socialists.
Yep.
So they went from feeling the burn to feeling the boot all in one fell swoop.
Yeah, and still no comments back yet. Nothing. Silence.
Yeah, it goes to show you how rigged the Democratic Party is and who they will use. I mean, whether you agree with Bernie or you don't agree with Bernie, he at least had a pretty young, I would say more grassroots than certainly Hillary and others, base. And they were passionate, they were involved, and really believed in what they were selling. Whether I agree or disagree, I think that their hearts were into it. And they just found out what big government on the left wants to do, which is essentially get them to do their bidding, use them as much as they can, and then throw them away like a dirty pair of underwear, which we've seen in the past. I mean, the Democrats did it to the black vote in 2008, and then after they needed them in 2012, they brought them back a little bit, but not nearly as much as before because they didn't need them as much. 2012 was the year of the evolution as far as the gay rights issues for the Democrats, so to speak, and that's the one they went with. And so it kills me to see Democratic voters just keep hook, line, and sinker, man. It's almost an embarrassment.
I said it earlier. Just a lot of them are smart, but they got this. They're easily persuaded and easily led by the nose, and it just amazes me how many smart people that there is out there that can be so gullible to pure bullshit.
Naivete.
God bless you.
Totally naive.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. The problem is they're emotional. Politicians, including some on the right, politicians play on people's emotions like crazy, and people buy it. I mean, look at the Black Lives Matter movement. Merely an emotional response. There's no actual thought process there. There's no reality there. They don't want to hear statistics. It's the same thing. And these people are getting whipped up into an emotional fury and essentially being told to ignore the facts that are in front of them. Yeah. So it's the same thing with the Feel the Burn people, and it's the same thing with Democrats altogether. Look at they voted Obama in 2008 on emotion. That's all it was, emotion. They wanted to be part of the first black president and say they voted for him.
And even the second time, they knew he wasn't the right person, but they had that white guilt. And that's why a lot of them voted it still for him, even though he knew he was not good for the country.
Yep, absolutely. So, you flash forward to today, and you're seeing it again. It amazes me how Bernie Sanders, and I hate to say sold out himself because he's always been a big government socialist guy where government runs everything.
He's been a sellout since day one.
Oh, yeah. But he sold out all those people who were supporting him, and here we are. And it just kind of makes me laugh. It's actually a nice comical break for me than some of the things we've been dealing with the last 2 weeks in this country. But it's also sad because this is what politics are in this country. And, prime example is Bernie and Hillary. If you look on paper, everything they stand for, they're completely polar opposites.
Yep.
Polar opposites.
Have you noticed? Have you noticed lately they haven't had Elizabeth Warren out there as much as they were? They kind of backed her down because it was not working as good as they thought.
Yep. No, I agree with you, and I think that'll you'll get somebody who's a little bit more of a centrist. I think they realized really quick with Elizabeth Warren, you can't have two extremely hard leftists on the same ticket, and especially because you're losing that whole blue dog Democrat more of the socialist, social liberals, but fiscally and militarily conservative. You'll lose them when you have a Warren-Hillary ticket.
Yeah.
You know, strategy-wise, you don't need it for the women's vote because you already get that with Hillary.
I don't even know about that. I don't know.
Well, no, but you're not. I don't think you're going to get any more with Elizabeth Warren than you will with Hillary.
Okay. Sorry.
I think you're going to top out either way. The women that will vote just because she's a female and they're out there will vote. You're not going to get any more, I don't think, with Elizabeth Warren. So that card's played. So now it just comes down into trying to steal voters. And look at, she stole all the Bernies today, but she needs to get that middle ground. She needs to get that kind of more independent vote.
I don't think she's going to get it.
So I don't think so either, but I think you'll see her VP vote be somebody who's a little bit more center of left.
I'll agree with that. But one of the things that keeps going through my thing, one of the things that you taught me when I first started doing the show with these polls is they're very skewed to the left right now, and as we get closer and closer, that's when they start putting the actual polls, and they've gotten caught already, twice now, fudging the polls by putting it a heavy Democrat polling base. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's
what they always do, right? They go to these big cities that they know the vast majority of voters are Democrats, 70-30, 80-20, and that's where they conduct these polls for the most part.
Yeah.
You have some that are much better about it. Pew is pretty good. Rasmussen is pretty decent, which is why their numbers are always greatly different than all the other numbers, because they actually have a tendency to balance. And these pollers that work for all these leftist polling companies don't. So, you'll see the numbers regulate. I'll be interested to see if Hillary gets any more votes or any more percentage on this next polling cycle that'll probably start kicking up there just before the RNC and DNC.
I say 1 or 2% increase, if that.
Yeah. Well, I think she might get as high as 5 because you're going to have emotional responses still to the polls. You have a lot of people who will just say yeah anyways because they feel obligated to. And then, like I said, once you get into the polling place and that curtain closes.
God bless you. Uh-oh. Looks like we lost Sean. And
sorry, I wasn't quick enough on the mute button.
Well, we only got we're almost at the end of the show, so I actually got to get going.
All right, well, the next time you talk to us will be from Freedom Fest.
Perfect. You able to get a phone call in about 10 minutes? You going to be free for a phone call?
Yeah, absolutely will. Give me a holler, my friend.
All right, as soon as I get everything shut down with the show, I'm going to give you a call, sir. Go ahead. All right, this has been, you've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising, YouTube, and iTunes. Sorry, trying to remember all of it. Whew. Everybody, have a great day. You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.